So I'm here with another book review. This book review is on the works of H.P. Lovecraft. First off, I'd like to say that I've read every single story, good and bad, by H.P. Lovecraft. Even all of his collaborations, I read everything. And H.P. Lovecraft, he's considered horror, but he's a different kind of horror. It's not like Hollywood horror, no serial killers, and it is a little bit supernatural, but it's more of a sci-fi horror type of thing. So let me start off with the bad. The characters and the plot in H.P. Lovecraft stories are the same, and the plot is often very predictable. You could always predict the ending. All his characters are male, intelligent, and eventually they go insane or take their life. So you have to get used to that because that happens in almost every story. And there's lots of racism in Lovecraft. His racist views are evident, and this is a reflection on the times and the person. His parents went insane, so that also explains why he likes insanity. Also, it's a little bit of a hard read. Lovecraft is a very pretentious writer, but it's not that bad. So now the good. So Lovecraft knows how to strike someone with fear. He uses the power of description through indescription. And he has very unique monsters. So Lovecraft, he's the guy with monsters. He writes about aliens. And yeah, so if you're not into that kind of stuff, don't go to Lovecraft. So all of his works are connected, and it forms a history of the world. And it's interesting. It shows the history of the world, what aliens came to Earth first, and all the drama, and how it relates to human history, but mostly alien history. And it's interesting type of horror. It's a cosmic horror, and it's to scare. I read it somewhere once that he wrote to scare an atheist, because Lovecraft was atheist, and he noticed that a lot of the horror novels, horror stories, were all written, fashioned in the way to scare someone who believes in Christianity. Well, not even Christianity, any religion. And it reminds humans of their insignificance in the scope of the whole universe. And because we are not alone, we can't be alone. It's pretty hard to believe that we're the only people in the whole universe, and that we're so important. And Lovecraft has this dream world, and he makes an interesting connection with the real world, well, his real world, to the dream world. And the dream world is a place accessed in dreams that you can explore. And really it's an exploration of yourself. And Lovecraft, he has great writing, descriptive language. Him and Edgar Allan Poe, they're considered like the fathers of horror. They're probably the best horror writers. Sorry, Stephen King. So that was my review on H.P. Lovecraft in general. Now I'm going to go into a few of his stories. So we have The Call of Cthulhu. Now, Cthulhu is the most prominent figure in Cthulhu in the mythos. In the Cthulhu, yeah. And Cthulhu, he's just a big guy. He has tentacles. He's half human, half squid, half dragon. Yeah, there's a picture probably showing right now. And Lovecraft in this story, there's a great narrative structure that actually appears in many Lovecraft stories, where this man is pretty much finding things out through reading papers. It reminds me of House of Leaves, which I'm reading right now, and which I saw review. This is a really good book. And Cthulhu is an interesting being, so he has abilities to access earth, wind, and water. Probably fire too, who knows? Because he has wings, he lives in the sea already, and he could walk. He's humanoid. So, and another thing about how the religion, this also parallels religion, and let me just break it down. It's about people worshipping a supreme being who roamed the world once and who is destined to rise again at a judgment day. So it's very disturbing comparison to Christ, this Cthulhu. And there's this mythological element. He's trapped. He must rely on the stars. Stars represent destiny. And there's a mixture of magic and science there, because he's an alien. And then one of his most famous novellas is The Mountains of Madness. It's ironically, considering that Lovecraft was racist, to me this is a retelling of the persecution of the native people. Yeah, because it's about the first aliens who came to Earth and how all the aliens that came after fought them and wanted their land. And it's criticized for being more of a history than a story. I kind of like the history aspect. It's the history of Cthulhu and the alien races, how they came to Earth, and etc., etc. It's the part of the story that's not a history about this is very compelling. It's about a group of explorers who find themselves in terror. They go to a mountain. They've discovered a mountain in the Arctic. So anyone who likes science fiction or science in general, they will like this story because it has that exploration aspect. Reminds me of Frankenstein. And so blah 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 blah. So here's a mini spoiler alert. The creatures that they discover, who have the star-shaped heads, are our creators. Yet Cthulhu is the only one of the aliens who is worshipped. He's not our creator. Also, these creators died out. So this... Oh, sorry about that there. I had to cut something out. So this relates to this Frankenstein theme again, about something that you create that turns against you, and parenting, because the things, they create us, but we forgot about them, and they also create the Sagoths, which destroyed them. So, done, spoiler alert. You could, yeah. So, another one is Rats in the Walls, and this was my first Lovecraft. It's a great story. It deals with the theme of exploration of one's house, which is similar to the House of Leaves, which I discussed. And if one does not know their own home, they have lost their identity. And it's not for anyone who does not like rats. The next one is the Dreams in the Witch House. Now this is probably the most disturbing story you will ever read. Well, one of the most disturbing stories. And it's about a mathematician who dreams of a witch in a house which he's renting, which was supposed to have been lived. A witch was supposed to have lived there, and she went into another dimension. She was going to be killed for being a witch. And it's like From Beyond, which is another Lovecraft story. It deals with traveling into other dimensions, and that's a big Lovecraft theme. And it connects his world of horror to his world of dreams. And it's just a really scary story. There's not going to go into it. You should read it yourself. So the Dream Quest is the Dream Quest of Unknown Kara. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's another novella, and it's very different from his other stuff. It's kind of comical. There's heavy use of Deus Ex Machina. There's no real danger. It's just a fun story compared to his other stuff. And this is one of his dream stories. So all of his dream stories are kind of... the danger level is low. It's just Lovecraft having fun. And there's the theme of mystical places that we desire to travel to as an escape. And it's also the theme of curiosity and the knowledge of mystery, which is a big Lovecraft theme, because all of the scientists who get attacked by monsters we're just trying to figure something out. And another Frankenstein theme. And the dream world is a search for identity. So that's really what it is. And I love this one. The Shadow over Innsmouth. This is the most adapted Lovecraft novella ever. It's a thrilling, scary ride. There's this scene in it which is really well done, really well written. Scariest scene, it's an escape scene. This guy escapes from a hotel, and there's more connections to Cthulhu, so it builds upon the history. There's the theme of curiosity again. So curiosity really did kill the cat, because procrastinate the protagonists. They're all trying to find something out, and they go insane or something. There's a twist at the end of this one. And what else was I gonna say? So, yeah, I think that's it. So, if you're just gonna read those stories, you should read them in this order. First, you should read The Rats in the Walls, and then The Call of Cthulhu, then The Shadow over Innsmouth, The Dreams in the Witch's House, and then The Mountains of Madness, and The Dream Quest. The Dream Quest could go anywhere, really. But I would put it somewhere after Dreams in the Witch's House. And I wish I could have gotten into many others, like The Shadow, Out of Time, titles, which I can't really remember right now. But a lot of his stories are really fascinating. If you like these ones, I hope you continue reading all of the other stories that are his major stories. And there's also lots of things to see. And there's lots of adaptations, there's video games, there's everything for Lovecraft. Even though most of them are really bad, because it's hard to adaptate Lovecraft, especially considering that the monsters are indescribable, so it's hard to bring them justice. There's a great adaptation of Call of Cthulhu that's in black and white, even though it was created, I think, 2005. And there's radio dramas. There's lots of stuff to keep you entertained here. So I hope you enjoy Lovecraft. If you don't, that's okay. And I hope you enjoyed this review. See ya.